For those of y'all who've been here, welcome back. Welcome back. For those of y'all who are new, welcome to the palace. Once you enter the palace, you'll never go back. I promise you that. So my name is Lexi. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York. I'm a hairstylist and nail technician. I specialize in nails, been doing nails for about 5 years. And I'm now getting into, well, not now getting into hair, but it's somewhat a new thing for me, and I'm currently attending Paul Mitchell the school, graduating in about a month, and I'm excited to share with you guys my journey in doing hair. So today, this is one of my great friends from Paul Mitchell the school. We go to school together, and she booked me for a half up, half down. Sorry, y'all, my cat is in the back, and she She don't like when I be talking to myself or talking to my phone. Like, she want to be meowing all day. But anyway, my client today, she's getting a half up, half down, the V part, half up, half down. I posted a video on this hairstyle, I think maybe a week ago or a little bit over a week ago. And she got the same thing, my other friend, but she did not get bangs with this hairstyle. So today it's just going to be the same thing, except I'm adding bangs. And we are using pack hair. We're not using the regular bundles that we used in the last video. So it is going to be a little bit different. I mean, same technique. It's just going to be a different quality. So right now, let me tell you a little bit about my client and her hair. She is relaxed and she's currently transitioning. So her roots are very, very natural, and her ends are giving straight because her ends are still relaxed, obviously. So she just decided to completely go natural a couple months back, and we're just working with her new growth. So what I'm gonna do is I gave her a full wash because I provide a wash service with every service that I provide, doesn't matter what you're getting from me. And I blew her out. I gave her a blow dry. I tried my best to get really towards her roots to try to flatten out her roots. Now over here, I just parted her hair down the behind her ear. I don't know if you could really see the part in this clip. Okay, here you can see the part in this clip. That's how I part my half up, half downs for the V part specifically. So if you watched my other video, you would have seen that I parted it the exact same way. Right behind the ear, it just hits every time. So I do suggest if you're doing a V part, half up, half down, that you part right behind the ear all the way around. So in this clip, I'm starting off my braid pattern for just the back. Now, what I didn't do in my last video, I did not do a perimeter braid. So I definitely suggest that when you do this hairstyle that you do a perimeter braid. It definitely gives you a little bit more security. It's going to help you have the hairstyle last a little bit longer. So the perimeter braid will be the smallest braid. And this is basically where I'm going to sew on the stocking cap that I end up putting on the back of her head. This just helps with like keeping the cap in place so the tracks won't slip just in case you sweat, or if you accidentally get your hair wet, you don't want your tracks to be slipping and sliding, and you want to make sure that protective layer is truly protecting your hair. This is exactly what I did when I installed my own quick weave. If you guys follow me on Instagram, Hair by BillioNoire, it's on the screen on the bottom right corner. You guys are going to see that how I installed my own quick weave on myself and how I ended up removing it. The cap stayed in place because it was sewn around the perimeter. So you can see here that I did a perimeter braid, and then in the middle I did me about 6 big braids, 6 chunky braids. I connected them the regular way. And then over here, I'm just oiling her scalp. I do recommend oiling your scalp, whether you're doing your hair or you're doing a client's hair. I do recommend that you oil the scalp before you apply your protective barrier because it's going to help with itching. So quick weaves are usually very, very itchy. Sew-ins as well, but with a sew-in, you do have more access to your scalp. With a quick weave, you don't really have much access to your scalp. So you want to make sure that you keep your scalp heavily oiled because it's definitely going to help with itching. But you don't want to put oil on your actual hair. Just keep it on your scalp because, again, this is glue and oil does remove glue. So you want your quick weave to still last as long as possible, of course. So you don't want to put the glue on your hair, just on your scalp. So over here, I am sewing down the cap on that perimeter braid. I'm using nylon thread. I only use nylon thread. I'm over cotton thread. Like, we don't do that anymore. We're not in 2005. So we're going to nylon her up, and I'm going to, just go around that perimeter braid. Make sure you get it nice and secure. And once that's done, basically now I'm going to start my wrap. So this is the same wrap that I use for all of my quick weaves, all of my half up, half downs, anything that requires any type of quick weave method. I'm using this type of wrap. I saw other type of wraps in the beauty supply store, and I heard the other ones are pretty good too. But honestly, I think it's one of those things where all of them are basically the same, and they all serve the same purpose. They all are going to protect your hair from the glue. So I don't really care, honestly, which one I use. It all really depends on the product. So when it comes to like products like shampoos and conditioners, that's when you want to really be cautious on which ones that you use, because they all serve different purposes. But something like this, I think we good, because I use 3 different products anyway to protect your hair from the glue. As you can see here, I do use Got2b. I like using Got2b because I feel like it's really good as a freeze spray. I don't like using Got2b for styling though, because it does leave like a little white residue, like when it's manipulated, like after it dries, if you manipulate it in any type of way, it does leave a really strong white residue. So I do prefer Kenra freeze spray when it comes to styling. And in certain videos, you may see me use Got2b in the styling part. That's because I broke my Kenra freeze spray, so don't mind that. But I do prefer Kenra when it comes to styling. So I use my Got2b, give it a little dry, then I use this spritz. Now, I don't know how to feel about this spritz. It's not the spritz that everybody uses. I think the one everybody usually uses is the Spritz Gold. Don't remember the name of the brand, but it's definitely not this one. This one, I don't know how to feel about it. I might end up just trying the one that everybody else uses. I only bought this one because that was the only one I seen available in the beauty supply store, and I really needed some spritz. It serves its purpose, yes. It just takes a really long time to dry and to actually get hard, which is like super annoying. But I would literally have the blow dryer on there for like ages. But here I'm cutting out the perimeter of that stocking cap. So she is basically 75 to 85% dry as far as her wrap is concerned. You want to make sure it's completely dry, but by the time I was done cutting, and then I had ended up I think I did something else between the time of me cutting it and the time of me actually applying it, I gave it a little bit more time to dry. So now she's completely dry. It should feel pretty hard to touch. Once you know that it's completely dry, it shouldn't feel like any type of moisture. It should feel very stiff. So that's basically what's going on there. And I did show a small clip of the hair that she bought at the beauty supply store. I haven't really heard about this hair. I am going to ask her how it ended up, playing out. Like if it ended up matting up, if it was easy to comb, easy to manage, was it easy to flat iron? I don't know. So I'm not going to recommend you guys go get this hair. This is just the hair that my client brought. So it's the hair that we're going to use, so we're just going to make it work regardless. So I just wanted to go show you guys a quick clip of how I ended up gluing the tracks, because my camera did die. So I did not get the full film of how I glued the tracks. As you can see here, it just skipped everything, but I'm so sorry. But if you've seen from the previous clip that I ended up gluing the tracks in a U shape all the way up to the front. So I did that for all of the tracks until the very top. So you can see here, that's where I stopped my U. So then once I stopped my U, I end up gluing the tracks horizontally. So I end up just cutting the tracks and gluing them horizontally. If you could see here, I end up gluing a really small piece. You don't have to do that. I only did that because that was how much left of a certain bundle that I had. So I just had to make use of that hair. We don't waste hair. Okay, we don't waste hair here. Okay, we don't. We're going to use every last inch of that track. And yeah, that's basically what I did there. So just ignore that. You don't have to do that. But for this part, we are going to glue each track horizontally to fill in that U. But for the rest of the tracks, I do glue it in a very strong I would say C shape, really, because it almost makes a full circle, only because it really helps with hiding the tracks on the side, hiding the braid and the tracks on the side. One technique I am going to try next time, I see that some people, when it comes to quick weaves, they end up sewing a perimeter track. I've seen that a lot, because when it comes to gluing, tracks to your hair, you can't really glue it too close to the perimeter because it's not going to be on the stocking. You want to make sure anything that you glue is on your protective layer, no matter what. So for the perimeter, you can't really put the glue on your skin to really cover up, the perimeter. So what people do, they will sew that track to cover up the stocking, to cover up the braids, to cover up everything. They will sew it on the perimeter braids. So what I'm going to do next time is definitely sew that track on the perimeter, even though over here there is still great coverage, like you can't really see much, as you can see. But it would help to have that extra layer of that extra track to make sure that everything is properly covered. So for the front, I'm going to be using my second heat protectant. This is the heat protectant that I use to flat iron. So what I do is I end up spraying it after I blow dry, only because there isn't much water in it. Water is not the dominant ingredient. I believe there is still water in it, but it's very, very little to none. So it does not revert the hair. So this is why I use this heat protectant. It is a hairspray. So I use this hairspray heat protectant to flat iron hair, because a lot of heat protectants are water-based, which is kind of ironic to me, but hey, to each his own. Hopefully one day I will come out with a heat protectant that is not water-based, that is definitely a hairspray, alcohol-based heat protectant, so it does not revert the hair back. So yes, I just gave it a little light spray, and then over here I'm giving her a quick flat iron. By the way, the heat protectant that I use is Paul Mitchell Hot Off the Press heat protectant. It is one of my favorite heat protectants. I definitely stand by it. I use it on everyone. It works on everyone. And anybody that I've given a silk press or any type of hair that I've ever touched a flat iron to or a curling iron to, it always reverts back to their original curl pattern. So I definitely recommend, if you are putting a heat, direct heat on any type of hair, even if it's a type 2, type 1 hair, you want to make sure that you use heat protectant. So yes, I'm taking small sections, going into her roots. I usually go in the roots with my mini flat iron first, and then I go with my main flat iron after. I'm not using the same flat iron that I used in my previous video because I just don't like that flat iron. Like, I don't remember if I put the link to it. I just don't recommend it. I really don't recommend that flat iron for professional use. I would say it's good for if you're just flat ironing your hair at home or you just want to do something at home. But the flat iron that you see in my other videos, I don't recommend. Don't waste your money. It's not. It gets the job done to a certain extent, but it does not maintain temperature. When I say that, I mean like, it would be on 390. For example, I'll put it on 390. I'll start flat ironing. After the third, fourth pass, it's going down to 325 by itself on its own. Like, I would not press any buttons. I would not switch the temperature, but it would just keep going down, and it would just go to 250. The next, it's at 200 degrees, and I have to keep adjusting it to 390, 400 degrees. It's so annoying. So I just stopped using it. I'm going to end up getting a whole new flat iron, or I'm going to just keep using my Pretty in a Minute flat iron. So usually when I do my updos, my half up, half downs, or my ponytails, I always use Murray's. Why can't I say it? I always use Murray's because I feel like it's a pomade that it's not too heavy on the hair, and it also helps slick down the hair. So I use this to mold, and then once I get it in the position that I want it to be, then that's when I add my freeze spray. So you want to remember that this is the mistake that I made in previous clients. You want to remember that when it comes to freeze spray, just think about it for what it is. It's a freeze spray. So wherever you spray it, it's going to stay there. So you want to make sure that before you spray your freeze spray, that it's in the position that you want it to be in, because if you try to move it after the freeze spray dries, it's going to look crazy. It's probably going to turn white. Well, in this case, it wouldn't, because I have the murets underneath it, and I end up using my Kenras. But in certain situations, it could end up turning white. You're not going to be able to comb it into a different position unless you wet the hair. And then that's going to defeat the purpose, because if you wet the hair, then that's when you're going to have to dry it again, flat iron it again. And there's too much product in it for you to flat iron it again. So, you don't want to make that mistake. I have made that mistake before, and now I know better. So that's why I use the murets to mold. And then once it's molded, that's when I would spray my freeze spray to get it to actually stay in that position. So over here, I'm taking out her baby hairs, and then I'm taking certain sections. I split the side sections into two, so I could really get it as flat as I want it to be. I'm using my murets again to comb it in, then brush it in. So basically the motion that I'm going in, I'm brushing it downwards and then behind the ear. So that's basically the whole V part look. The sides go down, and then the very top goes back. So just to get those parts to be separated, I'm going to just make sure I brush it downwards and then back. So another thing that I'm doing a little bit differently in this client is for the side parts, I am going to brush it down and then back, but the actual bun itself is not going to be as high as my previous video, because I made the bun very, very high in my previous video, and it made it difficult to actually pull all the hair into the bun because I made it too high. The goal here in this hairstyle is to make sure that V part is very visible, is very seen. So you want to keep this bun pretty low. You don't want it, you don't have to do it super low, but you definitely want to have it pretty low, I would say. Definitely below the crown area of the head. You don't want it to be directly on the crown, but maybe a little bit lower. So over here, you've seen that I put all of my murets, and then I ended up spraying my freeze spray. And then while I hold it into the actual ponytail, exactly where I want the ponytail to be, I end up blow drying the freeze spray so it could stay in that position. So over here, I'm using my rubber band to actually tie the hair up. This is going to be like the final tie before I end up fixing everything else. So this is like the final, there's no switching back after this because I already put my freeze spray. So that's basically what I'm trying to let you guys know, is that once you put that freeze spray, you are done. You there's no changes after that. So you just want to make sure that you're absolutely sure, you know what I mean? So, and I'm just applying a little bit more just to get it more slick, more flat. I'm using an edge brush, by the way, an edge brush and a regular bristle brush to brush the hair into place. You want to use like a bristle brush that is a little bit hard, not like super hard, but you don't want to use a soft one because the soft one is not going to do anything for you, baby. I promise. Like, I tried a soft one before, and it don't matter what hair texture you're working with, it ain't gonna do nothing for you. Okay, so you want to make sure you have something with a little bit of oomph in it. You don't want anything super hard because that's gonna be like kind of crazy. But you want to make sure it has some type of firmness to it. Now over here, I'm starting the ponytail. So the front of her hair is a little bit short, so we did have a little braid, but we still gonna work with it. Basically, I wrapped her hair up in wrapping paper. I used Got To Be to keep the wrapping paper in place. I find that this didn't really work as well. Like, it didn't really hold it in place the way I needed it to, or maybe it just wasn't dry. I'm not sure, but I'm definitely going to try a different product next time to make sure that that paper holds into place the correct way, because baby, it wasn't doing it for me. It wasn't doing it for me in this one. You're definitely going to see what I'm talking about. So I just basically wrapped the wrapping paper around a few times, and then I just try to soak it in freeze spray, and then I try my best to dry it up, but it did not stick at all. So next time what I would probably do is use glue to stick it down to make sure that it stays in place. But if you're going to use glue to make sure that it stays in place, you want to make sure that you put multiple layers of the paper, because that paper is going to be the only barrier between her hair and the glue. So you want to make sure you put multiple layers of it, and you want to make sure that you still put this freeze spray, because you do need the actual paper to stick to her hair, because if it's not sticking to her hair, the ponytail gonna fall right out, girl, and you don't you don't want your ponytail in the street. Okay, so you want to make sure that the actual hair, the actual paper is stuck to her hair with the freeze spray. So next time I'm going to be using the freeze spray, and then I'm going to put a little bit of glue to attach the very end of the paper. So over here I ended up adding a little bit more paper because it just wasn't sticking for me. Like, I just don't know what was going on, but we did improvise. We made it work. I ended up adding a little bit more paper because I do not want that glue to be on her hair, like under no circumstance, because that once the glue is in your hair, it's very difficult to remove it from your actual hair. So when you're applying glue, you want to make sure that it's only touching a protective barrier, or it's going directly on your scalp, not your actual hair. So as you can see here, I ended up adding a little bit more paper, and then I glued it all the way around, all the way to the top. And now I'm grabbing a little bit of hair to wrap that little area between her real hair and the extension. I'm going to wrap it anyway, even though it's not going to be seen. I still want to wrap it because it just gives it a little bit of extra security between the extensions and her real hair. It's, with the freeze spray and that extra wrap, you want to make sure that that ponytail is not falling off of her head. So this step right here is really securing and making sure that it's not going to go anywhere. So I just end up wrapping that piece of hair around, and then I'm going to put the freeze spray in there for every wrap. Going to make sure I blow dry it until it's hard. It might take a little bit of while because it's multiple layers of freeze spray. But yeah, you want to be really patient with this step because, girl, that ponytail will be in the street driving with the cars, and you don't need that. So as you can see here, I was not able to show how I did the bun in the last video, and I did promise you guys that I was going to show you guys in this video. So you can see it's very simple. All I did was grab the ponytail, twist it up, put it around, made a little donut, and then I wrapped it around again with another scrunchie. It's so simple. It's really nothing to it. And you can see here that that's how I ended up doing it. I made sure to leave out some hair. This is going to be like the little messy look that you see with this hairstyle. Basically, we're going to cut. Well, I don't think I cut it here. I think I just wrap it up here, and then I end up moving on to the bangs. By the way, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I ended up forgetting those bangs. Girl, I forgot them bangs. She was like, wait, are we still doing the bang? I was like, oh my God. Why I thought I was still on the no, because my last client, she didn't get bangs. So in my brain, I'm just like, okay, I know what to do. Like I be thinking ahead of time, like, okay, this hairstyle, we got this hairstyle today, this is what I'm gonna do with this hairstyle, etc. And yeah, that's just what ended up happening. My brain just was not thinking about bangs. But what I had to do was I had to end up taking out the bangs from what I already molded and putting it in the front. I hate that I forgot that, because it would have looked so much better if I didn't forget it, because it had product on it that didn't need to be on it. So over here, I'm basically just like parting out the bangs. Like I saw that a lot of the hairstyle, a lot of the half up, half down V parts on social media, the bangs had that little cross parting type of look. So we attempted to do that. It ended up looking pretty cute. I don't think I'm gonna be doing the cross parting anymore, or if I do it next time, it's gonna look a little bit different. It's gonna be like less crossed, if that makes sense. I don't know, but and I'm also going to put more hair into the bangs. I feel like I parted out the bangs, but I didn't part out enough hair, but that was because of my mistake of forgetting to put the bangs out to begin with, but we still made it work. So over here, I'm just like working with her edges. I'm trying to get it to stay down before I put down the bangs, or before I glue the tracks into her bangs. I'm using Murray's to fix her edges down. And then what I end up doing when it comes to edges, I use the Murray's, and then, I use a freeze spray to hold them in place. So Murray's, I think it works really well with flat ironed hair or loose curled hair. It slicks it down pretty well, but it doesn't last, so that's why I use the Got to Be right after. I'm I'm sorry, the Kenra Freeze Spray right after to make sure that it just stays in place for a while. So over here, I basically cut like very short pieces of track and I end up gluing it directly to her scalp. You want to make sure that when you do glue it, your parts are super clean and that the glue is only going directly on her scalp. You don't want it to be glued on her hair in any type of way because that's going to be very difficult to remove. So I think I end up putting about 2 pieces on each side. And then I make sure that it's completely dry before we end up moving on. Yeah, so that's another reason why I said I wouldn't do the cross parting again, because it was very difficult gluing the tracks when it had that unique parting, but we ended up making it work regardless. We ended up gluing the tracks perfectly fine. It ended up, it ended up working, and I'm just happy that it ended up working. But yeah, so we're almost done. So what we're going to do here, we're going to fix the back. So she did want a blunt cut, and she wanted to do the flip, like instead of a bump, it like flips out, like the 90s type of look she wanted to go for. So that's what I'm going to be doing here. I'm basically going to be giving her that blunt cut. And I'm using my cutting guard that I got off Amazon. I'm going to see if I could link that in the bio as well. We're going to see. But it definitely helps with cutting hair, especially if you use a black cape. I use a black cape. I just like black capes. I'm probably going to get into white capes as well, because I feel like with white capes, it also could help a lot when it comes to trims, when it comes to cutting, because you could really see, depending on what color your client's hair is. Most of my clients do have black hair. I don't have many clients that have blonde hair, but I do plan to, so that's why I'm not shying away from black capes. I love black capes, but for clients with darker colored hair, it does really help with the white cape to really see those dead ends or to really see where you're cutting. So yes, over here, I end up cutting that little loose hair from the bun. I end up point cutting it because you don't want to really have like a blunt cut when it comes to these hairs, because it's supposed to look like super natural, it's supposed to look like a little messy bun. So I end up just point cutting it to make it a little bit shorter, so it could just look like, it accidentally hung out of the bun or something. I don't know. And I use my flat iron to bump the ends of those messy ends. Yeah. I ended up bumping the ends so it could just look a little bit more put together. You don't want it to just be like straight sticking out. And yeah, so over here, I'm asking her how low she wants her bangs to be. I still want to double check when it comes to cutting. Whenever I pull out them scissors, girl, me and the client communication, okay? Whether it's extensions, whether it's your real hair, it doesn't matter. Once that scissors come out, me and you, we're going to have a conversation about where these scissors are going, because I know how sensitive people could be when it comes to scissors, whether it's their real hair or extensions. Girl, extensions cost money. So, we don't want to just go willy-nilly. Like, I am definitely not a scissor happy stylist. That is just not me. Like, because, girl, I'd be scared of scissors my damn self. So, but yeah, she definitely said she wanted it a little bit below her chin. So that's where we ended up cutting. And I think that's the perfect length, actually. I think that actually came out pretty perfect compared to the rest of the hair. And yeah, that was basically the last step. I bumped it out a little bit to make sure that it framed her face well. And I tried my best to blend her natural hair with the extension. These extensions are silky straight. They're not yaki textured and they're not afro kinky straight. That would have matched way better with her hair. I definitely suggest yaki for relaxed hair, especially if you have type 4 hair naturally and your hair is relaxed. Yaki texture would have definitely looked way better for this hairstyle, but it still came out cute. I hope you guys love it. Make sure you guys check out my Instagram attached to the screen, and I will see you guys next time in the next video. Bye.